So Neil Robertson with a bit of work to do. He's been a couple of frames adrift on a couple of occasions this week, so he won't be phased by any means, but he knows how well Alan is cueing. Described him as a world-class player ahead of the final, which he certainly is. But this is another test of Robertson's resolve.
Well, it's a little glance off the bunch here. Similar shot to the previous one, I think. Coming in at that same angle, in behind the green. It's a good shot. This time there are reds available that he can glance off. He's caught it a little bit on the thick side. Well, that was very, very thin. It just glanced off the red. You might just see that a way of, if he can get to the two reds, he's not going to glance off the one he's closest to. He could get the cue ball around the angles in behind. going to say the yellow and brown, but he's done it anyway. That's a good safety shot. It's very well played, actually. Player view tells us that nothing he can see.
So, and a miss. Neil Robertson.
I'm sure it'll go back from there. Don't think there's a shot available to him.
Foul. And a miss.
Well,
Neil Robertson.
pace-wise a little short, but I think he'll have a long look, but I still believe it's going back unless the plant interests him, which I doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Touching ball, not red. Foul. Mark Allen 4.
Foul was called. I didn't see what happened. Did the red move, perhaps, because it was touching ball? It's an interesting one. I wonder, because if you're touching the ball, and let's just have a look now. Yeah, well, it was touching ball, wasn't it? So if the red moves, it's a foul. So I think he had a mental aberration there. And it's not cost him anything.
Yeah, that's a let-off, isn't it?
One.
That's a decent little shot. That's got him started again. And if the top red of the two is available, then it will open everything up.
Can you turn it off? Switch it off. Eight. Nine. 16.
So it looks as if he believes that top red is available. He'd feel that he really needs his frame. If he was to fall 4-1 down, I mean, he obviously could be a long session for him in that, and that's a sizable gap with Mark Allen playing so well, so he really could do with this frame.
$24. 25. $32.
Well, the middle red, he'll be cannoning something else on the way through here.
33.
How annoying is that? He's just rolled that extra ball's width where it's difficult, and he's fuming. I thought he played it well. It just ran and ran. Just a couple of centimetres back to the right, and he's got a shot at the black. Had a similar position actually earlier to that one in that long third frame.
Robertson.
Where the cue ball just ran onto the black. Good break, but he feel that he should have made more out of it, even though he's played a good safety shot at the end. Very nice safety shot. There is a red that he can hit an edge of, but it was still well played.
Foul. And a miss. Mark Allen 4. Sorry? Yeah, come on. One.
Has always been good at that shot and swinging it around the table. It's not actually the most natural of shot to nothings, but played it well. The sting has kind of gone out of this match a little bit. I think that third frame did that. We're not seeing a dynamic scoring. But as I said earlier, it's a frame that Neil Robertson could really do with. So he's playing that shot a lot lately, and I tell you what, I can think of tables that would not accept a ball in the middle pocket hit at that speed. And there's a red on the right, but he's not going to be playing it. Get that cue ball in behind the brown again, I think, is the idea here.
Neil Robertson 6. Put your phone away.
Jan Verhaas having an absolutely torrid time, isn't he? Trying to watch the table and watch people on their mobile phones. He's played the cue ball almost too well, to the point where his next shot is going to be in behind the green, I should think. Gets this right, it could be a not particularly nice snooker to play.
Mark Allen 1.
And he might be able to slip past this and play the one cushion. Yes, he hit it just a bit too hard. Well, the red below the pink, it might be potable actually, but the cue ball in on the brown would be a good outcome, I think. Oh, pink first. Goodness me, a miss. I don't think that's going to get called. I think you put him back from there. certainly ping first. If you watch this, just see it, just waver. There you go. Certainly been knocking those in for the most part, but that one, I'm afraid, was not particularly close. A complicated little positional shot here. Could hardly have played that better. Very good. So this would possibly be a very significant break if he could find a way of winning the frame from here and go 4-1 up. Then he could be racing away with this.
8.
Well, he's already pinched one frame today from 65 behind. Superb 72 clearance.
9.
And this would be even more significant. Put him 3 up with 4 more frames to come after this one in this first session.
$16. 17. 22. 23. 30.
Well, it's going to get more difficult quite soon.
31.
But all the time he's chipping away and getting himself into the frame on the points anyhow.
$36. 37.
'Now these have been going in
44.
along the cushion on this table. Let's see how this one fares.
45.
Yeah, not staying out along there. Oh dear, to miss the pot.
Mark Allen, 45.
I don't know what he played, whether he played to flick the red out or he played in behind it to play the snooker.
So another frame which is very much in the balance as we come down to the final red. It's a big one. Either a 3-frame margin or just the one. Green is a stumbling block, for the time being anyway. Neil Robertson has much the better of their head-to-head, of course, having won 10 of their previous 14 meetings, including their most high-profile ones. Champion of Champions final in 2015 among them. He's not fluked the red, has he?
One.
Well, no position, because of course he was playing safe. But he could have left it right over the hole for Allen. So a handy fluke nonetheless, and now the chance to play a good safety.
Neil Robertson, 1.
4-ball snooker behind the blue with the yellow out in the open. So Allen's got to be careful here. You won't want that one back.
Well, likewise, I think Neil Robertson shot. I mean, he's obviously got an edge that he can hit, but it's not much fun, this shot, actually, from that sort of distance away with the cue ball.
He's played that very well, hasn't he? That's a really good shot from Allen. And the bonus of a full ball snooker back.
Two.
Nicely done. What it's meant is he should be able to get first safety in here, although I'm not sure how good a safety shot he can play. He'd like to just put distance between cue ball and object ball, I think. That's the key.
Neil Robertson,
It's
2.
okay, but no more. That was a double kiss. He knew nothing about that. You can get some applause, and if you want to, but you're not good enough to play a double kiss shot in behind the brown like that. That's an outrageous bit of good fortune, and it could win him the frame. He's got to hit it and keep it safe, and that's going to be difficult.
Foul. And a miss.
Where the cue ball's finished, it's got to go back.
It's amazing, isn't it? A game which requires such a high degree of skill, and yet that moment of very good fortune for Allen could be so significant in this final. could lead to a 4-1 advantage.
Bring it up, please.
Handy bit of technology that, with the rings on the table to indicate exactly where the balls were before. That looks spot on. Doesn't look any more appetising for Robertson, though. Really is a hit and hope.
It is. It's exactly what it is, and it's not bad. He'll settle for that.
And possibly deserves a bit of luck there, because Alan was fortunate to get the snooker. So this frame remains in the balance. Mark Allen has already won a tight one, which lasted almost 50 minutes. So Robertson will feel it's his turn. But it doesn't necessarily work out like that. And if he were to lose this frame, he'd have to win the remaining 4 of the session to hold the lead going into the final session. Bit pacey. Where's it going to stop?
Well, he's going to stop in an awkward spot for Robertson. He's got to be a bit careful here. Cue ball, if he's not able to get into it, he's going to go quite close to the brown or pink. Oh, he's done well to miss it. And that was to the millimetre, actually. Neil Robertson is wondering how this frame is slipping away from him, because he really looked in complete control of it. 3-2 looked almost guaranteed earlier. But if he can win this frame, Mark Allen puts a slightly different slant on the match than the way it seemed to be going.
Seven.
Well, 9 in front, so he still needs the blue, and it's not a gimme. But this for a 4-1 lead with the pink waiting. A very satisfactory start for Mark Allen then to this International Championship final. Barring a snooker, he's going to be 3 clear.
Mark Allen, 12.
Feels a bit like the previous frame, doesn't it, where we had this situation? Frame before last, actually, where it's just a question of trying to get a snooker on the last ball for Neil Robertson, and of course he didn't manage it. It's very difficult to manage to get the snooker so late in the frame. Mark Allen, once again, would be a little bit worried about going in off in the left middle, so I wouldn't be surprised if he played this slowly.
6 and a frame.
In goes the pink, so Mark Allen beginning to get a bit of a grip on this final. He's scoring well and he's scrapping well, and Neil Robertson has a few problems to solve. He now trails 4-1.
Again, you can see that he's got a clear shot at reds, but it's the thin edge that he's striving for that's not quite so easy to find. Played that with a lot of side. Whipping the cue ball round the angles. Played it nicely.
He's been very good at those shots all week, Mark Allen, cueing from tight to the cushion, stroking it in. He could have done with the cue ball coming a couple of inches higher, though.
It's a bit of a Mark Williams shot. He just trickles in along red. Mark Allen also very good at them, as you're saying.
Put your phone away, please. Put it away.
Goodness, not again.
Yeah, this is a big shot coming up, isn't it? If he's attempting the black.
I'm afraid it's just always going to happen, I think. Phones are going to go off.
He's always been a player who goes for his shots, Allen, regardless of the match situation. He's fearless. He has what's known as bottle. Often he's at his best in adversity. At the moment, he's in charge.
Yeah, it's not quite on the blue. He's got a little bit more on this shot now, this green. Red available if he pots it. Never looked like missing it. He really is in charge, isn't he? Now, if getting to 5-1 here, if
12.
Just looking ahead, which of course he won't want to do. Well, you look ahead, but if he did get to that
13.
point, then it's getting very serious indeed. So Mark Allen needs to read the signs. Could be about to take this match by the scruff of the neck, even though we felt it would be a close match.
18.
Doesn't necessarily pass that it will be.
19.
He's twice been the bridesmaid in this tournament. Last year it was staged in Chengdu. He lost to Ricky Walden 10-7. Then, of course, by the same score last year against Selby. He said ahead of this final, it's horrible being on the losing side in a title match. So determined to make sure he isn't today, and he's making a pretty good job of that at the moment.
$34. $35.
I think he's right there, just top side. Don't know if there's a red that goes to the left corner in amongst that little bunch of 7 or 8 reds. 8 reds. The bottom one, I think, goes past the red that's sticking out to the left.
40. $41.
I think he's okay.
48. $49. $55. 56.
Allen's third break of over 50. His best, 108, to take a 3-1 interval lead. But that handy 3-1 advantage is now looking like being a very commanding 5-1 advantage. Although he's still got a little bit to do with 67 left.
Yes, I mean, you can just take the pink and that's that's the frame, barring snookers. He'd like to take another red. So what does he do? Does he play a lower value colour which offers better position, or does he keep it safe? I pot the pink. Interesting this. Let's go for this one. Obviously the ball after the frame ball is one that really secures things.
$67.
It's not as though Neil Robertson has done a great deal wrong. A couple of frames have become quite tactical, and Mark Allen has just managed to have the last word. Robertson made a century of his own. But at the moment, it's Allen who's monopolising the table, and that red surely sets the seal on this frame. 3 snookers now needed. It's going to be 5-1.
Yes, and it's slightly gone in a different way to what we expected. He's good for a lead. Whether 5-1 is stretching it a little bit, I don't know. And of course,
73.
the point is, it's a question of how many he's in front by now. He could be miles clear.
74.
Which could go against what we think of these two. They're both playing very, very well. They often think a match is going to be close. It doesn't have to be that it does go close. Someone could win comfortably.
81.
Mark Allen continues to play like he is. From 5-1, he will take some stopping. I know that much.
And we talked earlier about the value of those scrappier, tight frames. Allen has won both of those, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think it's the frames that you win that you could lose.
89.
And the fact that he's won 2 of them is the reason the scoreline is so wide.
90.
He's also cueing beautifully, as he has all week, as has Robertson. Undoubtedly the 2 best players of the week, going head-to-head for the title, and at the moment Allen is on a real roll. Guaranteed a lead now going into the final session. The question is just how big a lead will that be? Neil Robertson really needs to find something now. In the remaining 3 frames, he'll feel as though he needs 2 of them.
Foul. Neil Robertson 4. Mark Allen 103.
But it's Mark Allen who has a tight grip on this final now. He is in charge. Neil Robertson needs a response. He trails by 5 frames to 1. Yes, this will be an interesting test of Robertson's newfound confidence.
Neil Robertson to break.
For my money, Neil Robertson is playing his best snooker for at least 3 seasons right now, and he's going to need it. 5-1 down.
Just see if I can switch that red light off. Beg your pardon.
Of course, Jan is having a torrid time, isn't he, out there with mobile phones, and there's red lights on somewhere now. You can hear him saying that there's a light on. All sorts is happening. He'd forgotten how hard refereeing is.
Yeah, he might be happy to go back to assessing after this.
Yeah. that is just brilliant. I mean, the red was one thing, but the power he generated, it was just off straight this, and just look at this. And it's that whippy cue action where he really gets it. Some speed generated.
7.
It's almost like he's got very fast hands, and he can make the cue will do things that other players were going to struggle with. Now, he hasn't finished top side of the blue. He's got the black as an option, but he doesn't really want to take the black because it will tie it up. And he feels there's no choice. He might try and move reds here. Just that when the black is potted, as you can see, it's going to be kind of almost not quite embedded around the reds. Just it's very, very tricky to get behind. And of course, the reds that is now blocking off are a problem. So if you're doing top side of the blue, he'd have been in a much better position with this break.
$15. $20. 21.
Yes, he made that shot look quite easy, and he really hardly could have played it any better. This is another encouraging start to a frame. You feel that he's not quite unstoppable at the moment, but he's really got the bit between his teeth. If Neil Robertson recognises the importance of these 3 frames, then Mark Allen does as well.
Yes, he has the opportunity to effectively put this final to bed, which is incredible, really, given how Robertson has played this week.
$31. 32.
Yes, it is going to be difficult with the pink and black out of commission here. I think he's now finding this hard to just maintain this break. Finding it hard to work out exactly how far he could go with it. Keeps on having to play bolt colours now. This is going to be a good shot to get onto a red as well.
$34.
That's a very good shot. Excellent control to get there. I mean, the pot was missable, but the position was top-notch.
Clearly, Allen's triumph at the Masters last season was the highlight of his career so far, particularly the manner in which he did it, taking out O'Sullivan, John Higgins, and then, of course, Kyron Wilson in the final. But for my money, this week is the best I've ever seen him cue over a sustained period.
Hard to argue with that. He's played so well, and he's looked very dangerous in amongst them.
$35. 45. 46.
And again, that is absolutely A1.
A very untimely cough this time, just as he was on the backswing. Goodness me.
Again, I'm glad it never put him off, because you don't want to see players distracted.
52.
Cue ball gathers speed. It's another fine shot.
57.
It's really good to finish there. The cue ball's travelled a long way, don't forget. Easily end up on a cushion or short of where he wanted it to be. And the black was potted once in this break only. Then it remained tied up, and now he's taken a lot of low-value colours here.
As you can see, any colour. Robertson needs a snooker. This is devastating stuff from Mark Allen. Brilliant century in the previous frame, his second of the session. And who would have imagined, when Neil Robertson was making that century of his own in the second frame, to level up at one each, that he'd then lose the next 5. Nothing you can do about this, though. Allen is just too good at the moment.
69.
Yeah, and he's always been the sort of player that can be unstoppable. It's a little spell, a little sort of burst of great form. You know, he plays the game in his own ways. Actually, he's not textbook. He's a little bit jabby at times, but other times it's just incredibly compact, and his timing is good. And today is certainly one of the days when it's all coming together. This week has been the case, but he's moving up a level here against a very, very good player in form.
85.
Closing in on his 13th century of the tournament.
Well,
you see the rundown of coloured balls
94.
that have gone alongside the reds. Some bulk colours in there.
97.
Things getting ever more precarious for Neil Robertson. Brilliant stuff from Mark Allen. The 3rd century of this session. And against pre-match predictions, one player is running away with this at the moment.
112.
And his name is Mark Allen, who is just not missing. Brilliant stuff. A clearance of 119 from Mark Allen. With 2 frames still to come in this first session of the final, Neil Robertson desperately needs them both. But Allen could close the deal here. 6-1 up. 3 times a ranking titleist by common consent. That's a modest return for a player of his ability, and particularly when you see the way he's been queuing this week in Darching. He's made 3 centuries in this session, and at the moment he's overwhelming Neil Robertson, who's played outstanding snooker all week himself, but now finds himself 5 frames adrift. And when you're put under that much pressure, those errors start to creep in.
Well, he's got him absolutely rattled here, and that was a most out of character shot from Robertson. Hit it too thick. He started with a lot of poise, and he looked very, very good early, Robertson. I guess tone was set in frame 1. Robertson made a terrific 65 break. Missed a red in the middle, which wasn't easy. He looked at the red a few times, actually. And then a 72 clearance from Mark Allen set the tone. Of course, Robertson did come back with a century because he knew how well he's playing. But since then, everything's gone wrong. And one of the things that's gone wrong is that the man he's playing has been inspired. Not an easy shot here to keep the break going. He's got a red to the right corner. I wonder if he can develop the black from it. Might be part of his plan.
Yeah. Seven. There you go. Okay. Eight.
Well, the break won't go a lot further now. I think he's got the point where there's only one way Neil Robertson can stop him, because I don't think his safety is going to stop him for long. Is you just got to not allow your opponent to pot the balls. You've got to pot them first. I think that's where he's at. He's just going to have to get in and score heavily from the start.
Mark Allen, 8th.
And Mark Allen won't be taking anything for granted at this stage, even though he enjoys that hand.
$15. 16. 22. 23.
Now the plant to get break going again was very good, and just look at every time he goes into the bunch, there's so much fizz on the cue ball. Now, what's happened here? Pink, I think, will go on his own spot. That's what he feels, and that might have just scuppered him slightly. Well, somehow he's hardly on a ball here. It looks very good when he hits it. You think he's on a choice of reds. And you realise that he's freed the pink spot in playing that. So it goes right in an area that blocks him off 2 or 3 reds. Now this must be tight, and it's going at the near jaw unless he's playing the plant. Oh goodness, that's a good shot. That is a difficult plant. It's one thing if the red's over the pocket, but it wasn't.
He's seeing them like a football at the moment, isn't he? Cueing so well. Neil Robertson must be wondering what's hit him here.
Well, and again, look at that shot. Absolutely inch perfect. Like a man possessed. He's recognised what an opportunity this is.
36.
He's the kind of player you knew was capable of this.
42.
I've always thought that when he hits a purple patch, then it's like he's playing a different game.
Yes, it's been sustaining it round after round. That's been Allen's challenge in the past. It's all come together this week. And he's been saying all season that his results, which were quite modest ahead of this tournament, didn't really reflect how well he feels he's been playing. Well, He's proved that so far in Darching, but still some work to do in this frame.
Yeah, because I think those reds are tying each other up a little bit down the table. And in that goes. Now, is that a plant? Maybe there is a plant available to him. The middle set of reds.
47.
He's only knocked in one plant in this break. Well, that's the only way he could be stopped, I think, and enough. Now, can there possibly be a turning point here? Neil Robertson has got to pick himself up and find a way of winning this frame.
A rare appearance at the table in recent times for Neil Robertson, who scored just 8 points in the last 2.5 frames. But he's in a position now where, even though he must be feeling a bit cold, he simply has to take his chances.
Yeah, the in-off, which came not so much from nowhere, but it was unexpected, has just given Neil Robertson a glimmer. But unless he wins the frame, it won't mean a thing.
And there's a lot of pressure on every one of these balls. Robertson desperately needs this frame and the last
6
of this session to give himself the chance for a fight back tonight.
7.
Yeah, usually you'd say, well, there's only a couple of awkward balls and he can get behind those, but I don't suppose he's feeling all that flash at the moment, as if he's going to take them, but he's got to take it shot by shot and see if he can just build a little bit of confidence back.
Thirteen. $19. $20.
What a thing to happen. Yellow blocked the red. He could never have foreseen that. He has to play a snooker here. I wonder if he can just slip the cue ball in behind the yellow now. It's got in his way. Now he's got to try and use it to his advantage, I think. It's very much the second option, though. He didn't really want Mark Allen back to the table at all.
Robertson.
Well, it's not a difficult snooker by any means, and I think the way that Mark Allen is playing, he fancies not only hitting this, but potting it, I think. If he plays to pot it, I think the angle would be to play off 2 cushions, coming in from the bolt cushion and at an angle onto the red. Wow. That's amazing. He actually missed it on the way up. didn't seem to be room around the back of that to go past it. That's a good shot. He's still in there, punching, but he's kind of hanging on. And as I say, nothing will mean a thing to him unless he can win this frame. He really has to win it. Things are bad enough as it is without them getting any worse.
This is the third frame that's proved to be tight, going down to the colours. Of course, Robertson's lost the previous two. To lose a third in that fashion would be a real hammer blow.
Yeah, he's overscrewed a bit. This is not easy now from there. A bit straighter would have been better. Unsurprisingly, nowhere near it. Difficult shot.
Neil Robertson.
And look what he's done. Screwing off in the middle of Mark Allen's may not be important.
Only needs yellow and green.
2.
Well, there was potentially a moment in the match there which could have just stemmed the flow.
5.
But it's not going to happen now.
No. The in-off as Robertson puffs out his cheeks. Did have just a sense of a potential turning point about it, but it wasn't to be. Robertson taking on the tough yellow, missing it by quite a margin, and worse than that, leaving it very invitingly for Mark Allen.
14.
And this is his 6th frame on the bounce. Remarkable. He's played superbly well. And he is taking an iron-like grip on this final now here in Darching, with Neil Robertson really up against it. Just one more frame to come in this first session. And amazingly, Mark Allen is already just 3 away from the title. He leads Neil Robertson by 7 frames to 1. 10 is the target to be crowned champion. The final frame of the first session.
Yes, well, the red that's just in front of the yellow is going to cause a problem for any safety shots heading back that way.
Hold the back page. Mark Allen misses a ball. He's missed precious little today. Doesn't look like he's left anything easy though. Puts an eyeing up a plant. This is very difficult.
Yeah, they're not dead in line by any stretch, are they? That's maybe the kind of plant that you play when you're looking to make things happen and change things around, because at the moment nothing's working for him. This is tough. I'm not sure how it dropped in.
Well,
that was off the top jaw, right?
It's a brave shot, wasn't it? But I guess when you are 7-1 behind, you need to take the odd risk to have any chance of getting back into proceedings. And well played, Robertson. That was a tough shot.
No.
Well, if he can win this frame, at least he heads back to his dressing room in a slightly more positive frame of mind. And with these 2-session finals, the second session is almost like a different match. Robertson could come out and play as Allen has done in this first session. He's proved it this week that he's capable.
16.
Yeah, a lot will depend on whether he can actually win this frame. As I say, the damage has already been done, but he's not coming back from losing this frame to win the match for me.
17.
I think things are bad enough as they are, but he just needs to find a way here. The plant was brave. I still don't quite know how the red went in. It looked like it was top jaw to me, but anyway, in it went. Not that many balls moved out here.
His only significant break today, as it turned out, was the 101 he made to level the match. Of course, his initial run of 65 proved fruitless in the first frame. Since then, it's been a struggle.
23.
That's not one of his better shots. He hit it quite thin into the pocket, and now he's uncomfortably close to the side cushion. And his next red is not easy to find, actually. That's a great shot. He deserves to be on the ball. That really was good cueing. To pop the black at that speed with your hand on the rail.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Robertson can be saying to himself is, I haven't played badly. It's just that my opponent has been outstanding again. I know I'm playing well. I've proved that throughout the week with some really excellent wins against top-class opponents. It's just a question of trying to get into a rhythm. Of course, this is now one frame in isolation before a gap and the final session to come later. But if he can win this frame and start strongly in the evening session, who knows? We know he's playing well enough to string frames together. But you've got to start somewhere, and this is obviously a must-win frame.
36. 37.
Well, if he goes into the bunch here, he really could do with this shot going well. There is a red, as you can see, up the table on the right, which he could either play on or could be a saviour if he goes through the bunch and doesn't land on the red that's in there. Could have been better, couldn't it? You know, I can't see what he's done wrong there. I think he's played it very nicely. He's gone through the bunch. Here it is again. To me, this is how you play the shot. I can't see anything wrong with the shot except the result. There's always a little bit of luck involved, and now his next red. Well, it's awkward. Very good. That's a top shot.
Yes, and he's showing he's still got the stomach for the fight.
I mean, not only has he potted it, he's played it at quite a good speed. It's like the black earlier in the break in the same pocket. And he's not just made sure of the pot. You're right, he hasn't played badly, and you can see that he's still cueing well. But
48.
In the middle of the session, he was completely overwhelmed.
49. $54.
A great chance then to stop the rot at long last. He's lost 6 on the bounce.
$55.
And if you hadn't seen the previous 6 frames, you'd think to yourself that Robertson was bang in contention, because he's cueing beautifully again.
$62.
So, red and a black.
63.
Well, Mark Allen's had a sensational first session, hasn't he? 3 centuries. If you'd offered him 7-2 when they shook hands at the start of the final, he would have ripped that hand off. But
71.
Neil Robertson just reminding him that he's playing well too, and that he still has the belief that he can turn this around this evening.
Well, he can. We start to break down the sessions now, and I'm sure the guys
78.
later on, Dave Hendon and Joe Johnson, will tell you this, but he needs to win the first session 3-1 and get to 8-5. Doesn't mean he's going to win, but it puts him in there with a squeak.
79.
Anything but winning at least 3 of the first 4 frames, preferably them all, and the winning line will come for his opponent. So that's kind of the equation, because there's a hefty deficit now. But at least he's finished with a good break here, and it's been a very good break, actually.
It has.
84.
That very tricky plant to start things off.
85.
Good retrieving red midway through the break as well. It's been a very positive contribution from Robertson. He needed something desperately, and he's conjured it.
92.
And what a session of snooker it's been once again. We've already had 4 centuries, 3 of them to Mark Allen.
93.
We have 1 marathon tactical frame, but by and large it's been very entertaining fare once again here in Darching. Ah, shame. No century to finish the session. A session that's been dominated by Mark Allen, who has played, as he's done throughout the week, quite superbly. But Neil Robertson with just a glimmer of hope with that 93 break. He's still got a lot to do on the resumption, though. Mark Allen 3 away from the title. He leads 7-2.